our unity and love for one another will always be stronger than the hate of the extremists.
Sorry? I'm human, talk to me as such.
London stands in defiance against this cowardly attack.
Well, I know you had to think through a lot for taking this part. What was the turning point that made you end up taking?
I initially said no because I was kind of scared of spending so long away from home. Then I ended up catching a second wind.
You do not commit these disgusting acts in my name.
Rachel Zegler didn't say a word. She didn't have to. The look on her face said everything. For weeks she'd been in the middle of a big mess, fighting with newspapers, people who didn't like her, and even important government people. But this time it was different.
I wanted to go on this little baby rant about Rachel Zegler. I mean, they've gone through various scandals with this girl. Not because she can't keep her mouth shut. I'm totally fine with celebrities telling me what the politics are, who they're voting for, etc., etc. We've become accustomed to that. But because she has this underlying anger and hatred in her that always has to take it like one thing.
Camera people caught her outside her London apartment. She was bent over. Her eyes were red, her makeup was running, and she was shaking really badly. 2 bodyguards tried to hide her from the cameras as she ran to a car. She didn't wave, she didn't smile. She looked like someone who just heard really terrible news. And in just a few minutes, the video was everywhere.
What would you say to those who are just kind of overly taking the film at this point? You look so hard on it. Alright. Congrats, Rachel. Good luck.
Social media went crazy. Everyone started guessing what happened. Some fans said she was just really tired. Others weren't so sure because just a few hours before, someone who said they worked inside the UK's government office posted something weird online. The post said, "Big decision coming about the Evita show. How people see you matters. No names, no details." But people who were following the drama quickly figured out they were probably talking about Rachel.
One of the most disgraced actresses of our entire lifetime is having yet another insane, hilarious meltdown over the complete and total backlash that has basically ended her entire career in Hollywood before it even started. And she is back once again to absolutely go scorch earth to attack everyone that was not happy about the insane things that she has been saying over the past couple of years. She is not happy, and it's very obvious with everything that is going on.
Rachel's breakdown wasn't just about her feelings. It felt like it meant something bigger. A young Hollywood star who came to London to be the main character in a big show was suddenly falling apart in public right when rumors about the government getting involved started spreading. The timing was too weird to ignore. Was this just her mental health getting bad because of all the pressure? Or was it something bigger, something that nobody knew about yet? Either way, one thing was clear. Rachel wasn't just fighting to protect her good name anymore. She might be fighting to keep her job or, even worse, her whole future in the UK.
Rachel Zegler's in the news because she's fast becoming the new Brie Larson. She is taking over as the most unlikable woman in Hollywood ever to promote a movie.
Truly a cultural milestone that Rachel Zegler has reached. Most annoying female lead in all of history.
She's the most unlikable woman I've ever seen in my life. Holy crap.
But how did it get this bad? Why is the British government supposedly getting mixed up with a musical actress from America? The answer comes from one viral moment that turned a theatre dream into a scandal that spread around the world.
In the 1970s, Tim Rice became fascinated by her and worked out the concept for a musical, which would become the smash hit Evita with music by Andrew Lloyd Webber. One commentator wrote this: Evita Peron symbolizes certain naive but effective beliefs, hope for a world, a life sacrificed on the altar of the disinherited, humiliated, and the poor of the earth.
It should have been a simple photo moment. A quick wave to fans, a smiling nod from the balcony of one of London's most famous theatres. But instead, Rachel Zegler stood alone with her arms crossed and her chin up, staring down at the street, like she owned the whole city. Cameras flashed, the internet went crazy, and just like that, everyone started seeing her as the bad guy. What was supposed to be a fun promotional moment for Evita turned into a meme overnight. People who didn't like her called it the Marie Antoinette moment of young Hollywood. Some people joked that she looked like a mean ruler looking down at her kingdom. But not everyone was laughing. Women's groups in the UK said the moment was rude and accused Rachel of acting like she was better than the culture she came to perform in. The angry responses were quick and mean.
A lot of what you see with Zegler is really just a pretty common Gen Z mentality and approach to work. She believes that she should be able to express herself and speak her truth or whatever nonsense, regardless of the consequences to everybody else. In reality, you have a job. You're getting paid to do this job. You signed on the dotted line, took on the role, and that job comes with certain basic responsibilities. And one of the most basic is the responsibility to control yourself and comport yourself a certain way publicly so that you don't harm the project, thereby harm all the hundreds of other people who are working.
It didn't help that Rachel had already gotten known online for saying sharp things and having strong opinions that she didn't apologize for. Her old comments, where she said Snow White was outdated and weird, came back up again, and British newspapers had a great time with it. Headlines made fun of her attitude, questioned why she was chosen for the role, and started new arguments about whether American celebrities respect the rules they're given or the countries they perform in.
Rachel Zegler is reportedly struggling to get hired. Rachel Zegler was supposed to be in Paddington 3, however she was dropped from that movie a few weeks ago, and they said that they dropped her because of the actors' strike. However, there are numerous actors in Paddington 3 that are a part of SAG, yet they're still able to film its movie. People are speculating that it might be because of another reason, and most likely is because of the Snow White backlash. Studios not wanting to hire her given the fact that it might result in their movie not making a whole lot of money at the box office. She also voiced the lead character of an upcoming cartoon that was meant to be part of Apple TV. However, Apple dropped the cartoon film. However, it was picked up by Netflix. But people are wondering why Apple dropped it in the first place, and people once again are saying it's because of this Snow White backlash and them not wanting the movie to suffer because of her backlash.
What happened next was when gossip turned into politics. Because within 2 days, a statement was supposedly leaked from someone close to the mayor of London. It wasn't official, but it was harsh. London doesn't make deals with people who only they care about themselves. And just like that, things changed from being embarrassing to being openly hostile. But if people thought the mayor's office would be the end of it, they were wrong. Because the controversy didn't stop at City Hall. It reached somewhere even more powerful, Whitehall.
Some of the main triggers for a narcissist are perceived rejection. So if you reject them or say no to them, watch out. Not getting what they want, not getting enough attention, you're not feeding me enough, or anything that messes with their image. So what happens if they don't get what they want or they get triggered? Usually they go to anger and then they get cruel. They lash out, they say extremely hurtful things, and they can be very destructive.
At first, it seemed like a typical tabloid fight. A celebrity fights with a politician, headlines get written, and everyone moves on. But this time, something was different. Because behind the scenes, whispers started coming out that the UK government, specifically the Department for Culture, Media and Sport, was quietly watching the situation happen, and they were not happy.
If you could interview Rachel Zegler, what kind of questions would you be asking her?
I'd start with a lot of softballs. I'd get her to kind of get a bond or a soft.
Her in, yeah.
Yeah, always have to do that. A little bit of live her career at the gig. And that's how you know when you give interviews like this, when you share those thoughts, that it's rather divisive and it seems like you're insulting the work you're trying to honor. Why do you say that, or would you say it differently? I mean, I'd just go directly at that point. I mean, you have to. You're out promoting your movie. You're talking to all these people. You don't have to. It's your job. Your job is to get eyeballs to the movie. Why would you insult the source material that way? This material has been beloved for years and decades. Is that a conflict there? I mean, what's if it ain't broke? Sort of. I think that's straight and fair.
The government didn't just see Evita as a show. It was a nationally supported cultural statement under the watchful eye of taxpayers and the press. When anger over Rachel Zegler's behavior exploded, it wasn't only her reputation that was in trouble, it put the whole production at risk and even the government's image. Behind the scenes, tensions got really high. Rumors of her showing up late, acting like a diva and making demands, and having huge fights painted a picture of a show that was falling apart. Then came the worst part, whispers of replacement, auditions, and a leaked government email that suggested funding might be taken away. Rachel's public silence only made people guess more, and her once loving public turned against her overnight, demanding that she be removed. Sponsors started to leave, ticket sales stopped, and producers scrambled to save what they could as rumors spread about a backup lead waiting in the wings. With growing political pressure and a culture war raging online, the fate of Evita and Rachel's entire career now balanced on a knife's edge. In the age of instant anger, this was no longer just a theater scandal but a complete PR disaster that threatened to end. Rachel's stardom before opening night even arrived. If you want every shocking update on this unfolding disaster, the backstage, secrets, the power plays, and whether Rachel can save her career, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell, and stay tuned. You won't want to miss what happens next.